Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com. Welcome to our 2024 ski test. Today we're talking about this new Blizzard Rustler 11. Some substantial changes to the Rustler collection for 2024, most of which are found in construction. That said, shape changes too, and basically what is true is the narrower Rustler skis from a shape perspective have changed more than the wider skis. So this being the widest truly does share almost the exact same shape with the outgoing Rustler 11. So in this, we can focus more on the changes to construction. So to start, we get True Blend wood core in these skis now. That's basically Blizzard's technology where they're laminating different density wood in a longitudinal format to achieve different flex patterns in different portions of the ski. So it sounds very complicated. It probably is very complicated from a manufacturing perspective, but for us, all we need to know is Blizzard is keeping denser wood underfoot, allowing the tips and tails to be a little bit softer, and they're controlling that through the actual wood core. If you recall from previous Rustler skis, they had dynamic release technology, which basically referred to the metal laminate. That was kind of the controlling factor in flex pattern, where now it's the wood core. So in these skis, we have flux form, which we get full metal underfoot, although it is an extra piece. This is its own piece of metal, this underfoot metal. And then we have two metal strips that run all the way from tip to tail along each edge. So 3 different pieces of metal in this ski, and it is very different in where they're putting that metal compared to the outgoing ski. The benefit for a ski like this is you get a little bit more consistent flex pattern from tip to tail and a little bit better stability. Now the Rustler 11, we're 112 underfoot here, so this is pretty squarely in the powder ski category, and I think it's fair to say that in the narrower skis, those changes to construction are a little bit more noticeable. The way that a ski interacts with firm snow creates more differences than the way a ski like this interacts with soft, deep snow. Because we have basically the same shape, the performance of this ski is, I'd say, more similar to the outgoing Rustler than it is different, but it still is different. So I mentioned that flex pattern, and it is something that you feel when you ski it. So more homogeneous, more consistent flex pattern from tip to tail, more consistency in how this ski feels. It feels like kind of a single entity, where the previous ski, the previous Rustler 11, the metal ended like way down here and kind of created like a hinge point. So in certain situations, say you stuffed a tip into some denser, still soft, still fresh snow, but say some denser, heavier powder, the ski could kind of fold a little bit and create a unpredictable or a little bit nerve-wracking situation. This ski doesn't do that nearly as often, if it does at all. So I think it's just a little bit more reliable from a skiing perspective. It's not like they took it and created this super stiff, like, charging ski. That's not what this is intended to be really at all. It is stable, it is strong, but it's still playful overall. It's still like a fun-loving powder ski. So although they made it more supportive from tip to tail, I think it's still just a blast to ski. Look at all that rocker. This ski has a tremendous amount of both tip and tail rocker. There is camber underfoot, but yeah, you know what? It's just undeniable how influential that much rocker is on a ski. I also really like the way that they don't taper the tips and tails drastically, but they do straighten them out, and then they come to this nice round finish. Might not come through on camera as much as it does in person, but that basically, it's kind of doing the same thing. It gives you that consistent tip and tail feel because it's not shortening the effective edge, but it's also retaining good edge release and good maneuverability. So just a very, very well-rounded ski for a ski so big with a pretty singular purpose, that being soft snow. I like the way that they've rounded out its performance, so to speak. I don't think weight is super important for these skis because it's not really intended to be a touring ski. This is something that you're going to ski as a resort powder ski. But we are 1,950 grams, which is actually pretty darn impressive considering we're 112 underfoot and 180 centimeters in length. So certainly not the heaviest ski in the world. I think if you compared this back to back with, say, an Enforcer 110, I would at least put a considerable amount of money on the fact that the Enforcer 110 is probably heavier. That ski, also fair to say, leans a little bit more towards the stability, that longitudinal stiffness, that down the fall line, just raw stability, where I think the Rustler 11 is a more well-rounded powder ski. It's fun, it's playful, it's super easy to release the tail edge, get it to flick around. I'd say there's enough rise back there that if you wanted to and if you have the ability, you could probably land switching powder on this thing. We haven't had like twin tip freeride skis in the Blizzard collection since the Gunsmoke and Peacemaker and those skis went away. Not to say that this is a twin tip, it's not, but it maybe is close enough that I think you could do some kind of backcountry freestyle stuff on it. So really cool ski. Doesn't change drastically in overall skiing experience compared to the narrower Rustlers, compared to the outgoing Rustlers, but it still is an improvement. I think just the improvements or the changes to these Rustlers it's a benefit objectively, like across the board. I think it would be really, really hard to pinpoint or point at anything in this ski that is worse than the previous generation. So that's it. That's the new Rustler 11 from Blizzard. Let us know if you have any questions about it, and we will see you out there on the slopes.